Tulsa game. Here's a kid that everybody's been talking about, great speed, this and that. And Tulsa's gotten the ball, and they're driving for a touchdown, passing, throwing the ball, just moving it down the field. And that is when Deion Sanders said, hey, folks, I'm here.
When he touches the ball, it doesn't matter who's around him, how many people are around him. You just think something's going to happen.
Well, he's the hardest worker. He practiced hard, he plays hard.
You remember the Clemson game when he said, take this back?
It was almost like the Babe Ruth story.
Well, yeah, he just didn't visit a hospital the day before and promise somebody. He promised me. But he looked over and he went like that to the bench. I'm going that way. And then he went out and went that way.
He went that way on that punt return against Clemson and just shocked everybody. And, of course, a key play was probably his last play, and it was his last play in college football, was in the Sugar Bowl.
It was unbelievable because he hadn't been quiet, because he never is quiet. But it was the game-saving play of the Sugar Bowl.
Absolutely. Auburn was driving. They were going to win that football game, and Deion Sanders, at the last second, steps in front, intercepts the pass, preserves the win.
Covered some ground so fast that it looked like it was impossible to do.
Say, those machines, that television machine had to be on a slower speed to be able to pick him up.
Yeah, I think they're under-cranking. But anyway, whatever it was, he was in front and made a play that won us the Sugar Bowl, and what a way to go out.
Deion Sanders, prime time, Neon Deion.
There'll never, ever be another Deion. There'll never be another one. But what I think is going to happen is if there is a potential for Deion out there, he's going to say, you know where I want to go? I want to go down there where they have those great-looking pants, those bottom things. You can do all that stuff.
Deion, thank you for the thrills.
Yeah, oh boy, thank you for some great thrills. And you're still doing it.
Join us next week for another great moment in Florida State football with Burt Reynolds and Vic Frenzy.
Big Sean Jackson sprinted 88 yards for a touchdown. Was some nice scrambling by Charlie. Number 68, that's John Flash from Orlando, Florida, making some nice blocks here. Is this the third quarter?
Third quarter. Fumble the football.
Little
handoff exchange.
Yeah, we fumble the football.
Charlie and William
exactly. They take it down, but our defense plays good. Our defense plays good. Number 10 there had that 12 covered. And there was a fourth down try there, and we stopped them cold. Marvin Jones was in on a bunch of tackles. John Davis. That was fourth down there. John Davis from Pahokee came through, made a beautiful play. Watch him. He piles that thing up. Old Sterling Palmer, 56, just keeps getting better and better. Number 2, Abraham from Dallas, Texas, playing in there real well. Charlie's back. He's looking. He's scrambling. He finds, was it Matt? Matt Fryer. And Matt nearly broke this one out of here. Oh, this is where we take it down and fumble, don't it? We take the drive right down the field, doing just what you're supposed to do, and get down here and fumble the football. Look at that. And when our receiver tries to pick it up, and he'd been better off just recovering it. Tried to pick it up. That other receiver knocks it out of his hands. They get it, so we don't get a score. Oh, here's a real fine. Oh, that's right. Let's get him here.
Not this way.
Yeah, John Davis turned that thing back around. Number 43, Eric Smith from Live Oak, Florida. Number 9 in there is Dulac Gary, ain't it, from Miami. Tyrant Marion played from Pompano Beach, I think he's from. Boy, here's a real fine run by Sean Jackson from New Orleans. Watch old Matt Fryer hustling. Look at number 12 hustling down there. And he gave him something to break off of. If number 12 hadn't got there, they might have gotten Sean. But Matt went down there and kind of gummed things up for him. And I'm real proud of him. Oh, that's a way McNeil. I would have blocked Lonnie Johnson there leading the way. Lonnie Johnson and Bill Floyd did a good job in there working at tight end. But there's old Fryer, number 12, from Live Oak, Florida.
Third longest touchdown run by a Seminole ever.
Is that right? Well, that is so good.
8 yards.
You know, Sean said all week he was going to do it. When I watched him practice, I said, boy, you're practicing hard. He said, Coach, I'm going to get a long one this week. And you'd have got one the week before.
88-yard touchdo0 gallop by Sean Jackson from New Orleans. And that was the final score of the game. 35-7, Florida State knocks off Wake Forest. The Seminoles are now 4-0 in Atlantic Coast Conference play. And looking ahead to play out of conference for the first time in '92, guess who it is? The Miami Hurricanes. We'll come back and talk about that in just a moment.
The that captures the emotion of each and every game. Along the way, FSU claims victories over Nebraska, Penn State, Auburn, and Texas A&M, some of our nation's best football programs. For Bobby Bowden and the Florida State University Seminoles, it has indeed been a decade of bowl greatness. You can order a decade of bowl greatness by calling 1-800-488-3883. That's 1-800-488-3883. Or by sending check or money order to the address on your screen.
And I don't have time to react to make my gloves, and I stop the puck with my face, and the cage broke, and I need 4 stitches up on my eyes, and but the good part, I stopped the puck. And
You stopped. And you stayed in the game, right?
No,
You had to leave the game?
Yeah, because
Here, this is pretty exciting, I guess, for any athlete to appear on a trading card, and there it is. This is you. Is that playing for what team is that there?
no team.
No team. But this was.
Just for the picture.
I see. This is not for the Tampa Bay team then.
No, this is I wear no team jersey because just for the picture.
Hockey for me is a passion. Hockey for me is a passion. We need to do a commercial, and we'll be right back.
It's got the distance. It is wide right.
There's always somebody always taking something away from us, it seems like. I think it's going to be a different level from here on out to play football. Miami just was unfortunate. They got lucky and they got off easy, but from this point on, I mean, it's just payback. It's trouble.
You're going to take out your frustration on North Carolina?
Yeah. From here on in, we're going to take everybody as they're Miami. We're going to punish everybody. 60 points is an understatement. I think we want to go out and score so many points that they probably have to stop the game.
We're still one of the forerunners in the ACC. We feel like the thing we must do now is just concentrate on winning the ACC and continue to win the rest of our games, and we still can get a great bowl bid.
WCTV Sports presents Countdown to Kickoff. A preview of today's game between 8th-ranked Florida State and the Tar Heels from North Carolina. Now, live from Doak Campbell Stadium, here is WCTV Sports Director, Scott Atwell.
A pleasant good morning, everybody, and welcome to Countdown.
Restart in the conference. They'll have to contain Terry Kirby. Consecutive 200-yard games. Serious Heisman candidate. We'll hear from him later on. Compare him with Marshall Faulk. Today in the
spread the defense a little bit by taking receivers and spreading them over the field. The coverages have to expand to cover the entire field. A defense can't disguise blitzes as well. They can't pack 7 and 8 people up around the football like you might in a conventional 2-back set with just 2 wide receivers. So it's really something that kind of spreads the field a little bit, spreads the defense, and you try to take advantage of it in your passing game and some of the voided areas or zones.
And right now, fan dissatisfaction with the offense is at a season high. But let's not forget when the offense clicks. 3rd and 17 against Miami, FSU catches the Canes in a blitz. And look at Sean Jackson go. Good for some 37 yards. The 1-back can be dangerous.
I can see it becoming very successful. Compared from the first game until now, we've come a long ways, and it's getting better and better every week.
Basically, the formation takes the fullback out of the backfield and onto the line. That gives you 3 wide receivers and a tight end. In theory, it can force a defense into a decision. Do we pack it up front and guard against the run, or look pass? It's the quarterback's read that determines the play.
Defense can kind of dictate to you whether or not they want to stop the run or not just by the number of people they put on or near the line of scrimmage. Right. So if there's too many guys near the line of scrimmage, then it's not to our advantage to run the football. So he'll check to some passing game where it is an advantage for us.
And Ward has put to use his power of veto. Coaches estimate FSU checked off at about a rate of 7% in the 2-back set. That figure soars to over 25% with the new offense.
It's really easier to run the I guess you could say, because we don't have as many reads to try to do it.
You guys basically call 2 plays at a time?
Right.
Can you go into that a little bit?
Well, we may call a run and a pass, or we may call a run and a run.
Every time?
Not every time, no. There's some plays that we call them a tank play, or a play that we'll run no matter what no matter what they do, because we feel that it can be executed if the quarterback makes the right decision.
So far, the odd man out of this offense has been fullback William Floyd. Recently, he's been shifted to first-team tight end.
I think if they run my way, they're going to be successful, because anybody that's in front of them, I'm going to maul them, I'm going to match them. So it doesn't matter, just as long as they run behind me, it doesn't matter whether I'm at fullback or tight end, just as long as they stay behind me, they're going to be all right.
Maybe the biggest question, is it the running game or the passing game that the Noles need to establish? Both are well off last year's clip through 5 games. Does the pass open things for the run, or the run open it up for the pass? This is the heart of the matter when it comes to confusion with the one-back set.
Doesn't the passing game have to get clicking in order to spread out?
No, it's been the opposite.
Okay.
It seemed like, because we've been throwing the ball well, and the running game had been clicking like it should.
Most defenses now are starting to, pack it in on us unless we get our passing game going too much, and that's when they begin to spread out on us.
So a little controversy. I think maybe the problem is that so much is expected out of Florida State each year. When something like this offense doesn't meet expectations, people get impatient, even the players themselves. Scott?
All right, Randy, thank you very much. And after all that, the Seminoles will probably come out today and run the option or something like that. Kickoff nears here at Doak Stadium, and when we come back, we're going to run down some of the key matchups today.
He is on a gimpy hamstring, so the Seminoles should at least be able to match the 301 yards a game the Tar Heels have given up so far this season. Don Evans for Countdown to Kickoff.
All right, Don, thank you very much. You know, with this new one-back set Florida State is running this year, tight end Lonnie Johnson has kind of been the silent Seminole. But the senior from Miami is uniquely prepared to deal with silence.
Football. It is a game of sign language, from coaches to players. But tight end Lonnie Johnson doesn't use sign language to call plays. He uses it to speak words, a skill he learned as a youngster, growing up with a sister who is deaf.
Before my mom started me out, she wanted us all to know at least a little sign language, so we would be able to understand our sister when she talks, spoke to us, and be able to say something back. It's not good to have a sister or brother and not be able to communicate with them.
As a football player, Johnson's hands are very important. You never know when Charlie Ward may fire a game-winning pass your way. But to John Burns, the hands of number 85 are special for a more important reason. Burns and his son James moved to Tallahassee a year ago and were thrilled beyond words to stumble onto a major college football player who spoke their language.
The guy said that he was deaf, and so Lonnie comes up here. So now they're friends, they're like buddies.
He tells me all the time how much he loves me, and, I love you, and his kids, we're real close, and it is a lot of fun.
Like a major college offensive scheme, sign language is not an easy thing to pick up.
This has to be unique.
How do you spell that?
U-N-I-Q-U-E.
Johnson says he's taking a refresher course to better communicate with his sister, and he's not ruling out the possibility of tutoring some of his teammates.
I was thinking at one point, what if, we could teach the coaching staff sign language, and if they knew it, they could talk to us in sign language and perhaps make things a whole lot easier. Tell us a few things without the other team finding out.
Well, on television we have sign language too. This means wrap it up and go to the break. So when we come back, we're going to take a look at the last time the Tar Heels came to Tallahassee, and we're going to talk with Terrell Buckley, who is attending today's game. Stay with us.
As a truck company for 90 years, we understand the value of a strong frame, a reassuring strength for towing, whether you're on road or off road.
Check
Check out a Jimmy Smart lease at your GMC dealer today.
Says here, alien creatures landed in Bill Becker's bean field. Says here, the new John Deere mowers are in at the dealer.
Come see the new John Deere SRX riding mower or the LX lawn tractor, both with exclusive foot speed control. Take a look at the new lightweight PZ walk-behind mower, too.
Says here, they're green.
Try anyone for 30 days. If you're not satisfied, return it for a full refund.
For the best price and service, visit Jones Tractor Company in Tallahassee and Thomasville.
The Centel Classic, FSU Baseball, and the North Florida Fair all have one thing in common. QuickBucks is there. QuickBucks, the mobile automatic teller, is the newest customer service from the Capital City Bank Group. So stop running all over town for money. If your bank is part of the Honor Network, you can get QuickBucks from QuickBucks at most special events in the Tallahassee area. Catch QuickBucks this Saturday at Doak Campbell Stadium.
Welcome back, everybody. 1 week ago today, the Seminoles were on the verge of their biggest game of the season when controversy struck. You may have read the quotes from Terrell Buckley printed in numerous newspapers. The former Seminole questioning the popularity of Florida State's head football coach, Bobby Bowden. I'll tell you, Coach Bowden played it off well, but he was deeply hurt by these comments. Well, Terrell Buckley is back in Tallahassee today. The Green Bay Packers have an open date. We took the opportunity to talk to Terrell, who was ready to clear the air.
I personally shouldn't have said anything about it because when Coach Bowden explained it to me, it sounded totally different. And so I apologize. You know, he apologized. And, you know, bickering among the family is good. So we got that worked out. And hopefully we can get back and go 11-1.
All right, let's hope they get things together. You know, if the Seminoles are feeling some sorrow following that loss to Miami, it does not compare to the sorrow they were feeling the last time that North Carolina came to Tallahassee. That was in September of 1986, and it was 1 week after Seminole Pablo Lopez was tragically shot to death at a campus party. The Tribe wore those helmet stickers in memory of their popular teammate. The game marked a freak injury to North Carolina coach Dick Crum, who was run over on the sideline and strained knee ligaments. And it was a strange day for FSU offensively, scoring only 10 points, 2 on a safety, 6 on this touchdown to Ronald Lewis, and another 2 on a 2-point pass play. Then with time running out, the game tied at 10. Derek Schmidt had a chance to win it at the buzzer. It was wide left. It was the last time that Florida State suffered a tie ball game. Well, 6 years later, they will meet again here in Tallahassee. And here's some new faces you'll be seeing in the lineup today. Robbie Baker, healthy enough to go again at center. You know, you can't lose your job because of an injury at Florida State. He'll start over Clay Shiver. Couple of players down the line. Juan Laureano gets the nod over Marvin Farrell. And at tight end, William Floyd is listed ahead of Lonnie Johnson. Florida State quarterback coach Mark Richt has graciously joined us here just a few minutes.
Safety plays way back, hits you square in. If he comes up tight, we go to the top.
But after the coach has his say, he leaves the fate of his words to 20-year-old men who sometimes succeed. Scrambles out of the pocket. Has to run now. Crosses field. Touchdown. And at other times come up just short. He missed it to the right. Both Bobby Bowden and Matt Brown know they have to put past distractions behind them and get down to some ACC business as Florida State takes on North Carolina. ACC game of the week between two 4-1 teams, North Carolina and Florida State. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Steve.
If we lose to North Carolina, you could actually lose to Miami and still reach your goal of being a national champion. But you have to win the conference championship or you can't get thrown into a playoff, you see. So our players understand this. I think our players understand it. That's the ones I got to convince. Whether our boosters and alumni who are diehard beat the Gator fans or beat the Hurricane fans, whether they're willing to accept that or not, I don't know, but I know better, and our team knows better.
Well, it's Eric Vanover, the freshman. Look at his numbers in the last 3 games, including, of course, returning the opening kickoff against Miami for a touchdown 1 week ago. He is a game breaker with a capital G.
He's returned kickoffs for touchdowns the last 2 games. That makes the coin toss probably one of the most important plays of the game, and it's coming up, plus a whole lot more when we return to Tallahassee. Reaches midfield and is planted firmly in the ground here at Tallahassee. Let's go down to the sidelines. Joining us on today's telecast, of course, as always, Mike Hogwood.
Thanks, Steve. And one other ritual you'll see here is that tomahawk chop. It originated here in Tallahassee. And if you watch the baseball playoffs and see the Braves fans doing it, you may know that and Tallahassee, Florida State fans are very proud that it originated here. You know, one of the keys in this game today, we're going to see a lot of passing, a lot of offense. But we're also going to see teams try to establish a running game up the middle. Both coaches feel that's very important. Mac Brown earlier in the week said that Natrone Means and Randy Jordan would be a key. They're the two tailbacks in this game. In particular, we know about Natrone Means, how great he is. Mac Brown says he feels it's important to take advantage of Randy Jordan's speed. Hopefully he'll be able to break a long gamer today. For Florida State, we're talking about Tiger McMillan and Sean Jackson. Now, Sean Jackson has had one long run this season. It came a couple of weeks ago against Wake Forest. But Bobby Bowden feels he really hasn't reached his potential yet this year. And hopefully, maybe today, Sean Jackson can break one against a pretty stingy North Carolina defense. We're about ready for the kickoff. It's North Carolina and Florida State in Tallahassee, and we'll be back in just a moment.
In Tallahassee, and Chief Osceola is about to conduct himself accordingly as he brings the stands and 60,000 fans in them here at Doak Campbell Stadium to attention. The spear is planted, and this ACC battle is about to be joined. And Jack Corrigan, this is a battle between two teams really trying to fight off inferiority complexes because of losses to big in-state rivals.
Well, you've got what happened to North Carolina a week ago against Navy. Navy had not scored any points on the year and scored 14 points against North Carolina. For Florida State, Bobby Bowden's ball club has gone 6-5 after losses to Miami. They can't afford to dwell too much on what happened last week, or a good North Carolina team could rise up and upset them.
Pretty good weather conditions, just a slight chance of rain and high overcast today, 80 degrees. Let's go back down to the sidelines and Mike Hogwood.
Steve, we just got word from the North Carolina sidelines.
Navy, he was expected to play second behind Kerry Mock at that inside linebacker spot. So we expect to see a lot of number 40, Tommy Thigpen, today. North Carolina kicking off, and a man who can change this game in a hurry. Tamarick Vanover, true freshman from here in Tallahassee, getting set to return the kick of Ben Crosland. And we will be underway here in Tallahassee.
Crosland kicks the ball high, but not that deep.
True to form, they kick away, and Tiger McMillan is the man who comes up with the football. McMillan has a path up the sidelines, and Rondell Jones has to trap him just a yard into North Carolina territory at the 49-yard line. Let's take a look at the starting lineup now offensively for Florida State.
Charlie Ward, the key. You will see William Floyd, the fullback, as much as a tight end. They like to go to the 3 and sometimes 4 receiver set. Fryer and Vanover, the best of the bunch. Robert Stevenson and Robbie Baker, the fifth-year seniors, key and improving young offensive line.
Charlie Ward, who last year, of course, played basketball for Florida State and did a very nice job as their point guard. In his first ever meeting against the North Carolina team, scored 18 points in an upset win in Chapel Hill. But this is football, and his first offering of the day is a little short. Tamarick Vanover.
Will be Kerry Mock sharing that linebacking spot with Tommy Thigpen, the All-American. Harrison Perry have had great years on the outside. A banged-up secondary. Rondell Jones and Bracy Walker, the safeties, are the two best performers back there.
2nd and 9, actually 2nd and 10 at the 49-yard line of North Carolina. Florida State with the football, and Charlie Ward to throw. Has Matt Fryer in the pattern, and it's going to be ruled incomplete. Off to the North Carolina sideline where Fryer may be hurt. That's Mac Brown over Matt Fryer, who is an outstanding receiver. Great possession receiver.
And a great catch by Fryer. He completely turns around. Cliff Baskerville, the cornerback. Look at the extension. But he was out of bounds. A good call by the referee, and he might have landed on the football. You can see how far off Rondell. You don't even see Baskerville in the picture. But couldn't control the ball going down, and he is still down on the far side.
20 straight non-Florida opponents. Their last loss to an opponent from outside the state of Florida was in 1990 against Auburn. Fryer comes off the field.
Excuse me, Steve.
3rd and 10. No score. First possession of the football game. Ward upstairs. This one is complete. And it is Kez McCorvey. At the 35-yard line of North Carolina, gain of 14, first down.
They are picking on Cliff Baskerville on the far side. McCorvey, 6 foot, 180-pound sophomore, running the bench route, the turnout route, and he goes way up in the air to make a fine catch before he is popped by Kerry Mock and Baskerville.
First and 10 at 35 of North Carolina. Floyd and Jackson, the setbacks in the eye. Sean Jackson. Jackson trying to turn the corner.
And back there. He and Jones are solid. They really miss Thomas Smith, who is out with a broken arm at cornerback, particularly against Florida State.
Second down and 9 for the Seminoles. They're at the Tar Heel 33. Vanover in motion. Jackson with the football. Big opening inside the 25 down to the 24-yard line, and Tommy Thigpen helps out on the tackle along with Cliff Baskerville for North Carolina.
Florida State will come out in their two-back set, but they will assess.
It's a gain of 9, and it's good for a first down for the Seminoles at the North Carolina 24. Jackson on the pitch. Gets inside, a nice block by McNeil, and gets down to the 17-yard line.
Oh, with Thigpen and Rick Steinbacher. You look at how Thigpen moved around that activity. The block attempt by Robbie Baker, and was able to finish off what Greg Black started.
Second third down conversion of the afternoon for the Seminoles. Charlie Ward on the last one on 3rd and 10. Hit Taz McCorvey for a big pass. And Ward doesn't like what he sees on defense. Leading receiver for the Seminoles at 20 catches thus far this season.
You see the ice being applied to the shoulder. What happens many times, it's when you land on that elbow and it drives, that pressure drives the shoulder joint. And that, unfortunately, speaking from experience, I know what that feels like.
Here's what Florida State does when they get the ball inside the 20. They've converted 17 out of 22 scoring opportunities. 11 of them have been touchdowns and 6 field goals. And Charlie Ward's calling of a timeout saved them from a 3rd and 5. It's 3rd and inches. They're at the 14.5-yard line of North Carolina. Baker in the game for the first time. Here's the pitch to Jackson. Jackson stopped at the corner, and he may not have it. What a big stop for North
as well, known as the linebacker scrape, and Tommy Thigpen showed you why he is an All-American candidate. Scraped by the blocker and stood up Sean Jackson. Actually lost about a half a yard. Florida State's going to go for it.
4th and inches. Field goal unit stays off the field. They'll go for it. Key test of Wills here early. Naked bootleg for Charlie Ward. And Ward has the first down. Driven out of bounds inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. It's a gain of 5 yards. Bracy Walker chased him.
We talk a lot about Charlie Ward's ability to run with the football because of his great speed. Look at the excellent play faking there. And the patience to wait long enough for Jonathan Perry to bite on the handoff. That took away the outside contain of Carolina, and Ward got the first down.
First and goal at the North Carolina 9-yard line. Jackson and Floyd the setbacks. Vanover is split wide to the wide side. Pitch to Jackson. Jackson inside the 5. Close to a score, but he's going to be ruled down at the 1. Brought down by Rick Steinbacher.
Good block by Tamarik Vanover coming down inside, and on that 3rd down play, Thigpen was able to make the stop on Jackson, but this time Vanover got inside and makes the block on Tommy Thigpen. Watch number 80 right here. Well, it wasn't Thigpen, it was Rondell Jones that was cut off from getting to the ball, so I'll have to give credit to somebody else. I'll look at the replay again.
Second and goal at the 1-yard line. Jackson headed for the corner, has a touchdown, Florida State.
Bobby Bowden wanted to resurrect resurrect his running game, and after throwing the ball on the first 3 plays of this series, they went to the ground and ground out the score behind the efforts of Sean Jackson, the junior from New Orleans. Dan Mowry comes on to kick out of the hold of Danny Cannell. Kick is no good. A missed extra point. The first of the season for Florida State. Mowry haunted from last week's miss against Miami in the Orange Bowl that would have tied the game with the Hurricanes. But Sean Jackson scores, and the Seminoles lead by 6. Dan Mowry's got to be thinking about things. Well, they missed the field goal at the end of the Miami game to the right, perhaps overcompensating. Missed that first extra point to the left. And Randy Jordan awaits his offering on this kickoff. As Mowry gets set to let it fly, and we're underway once more. First quarter action here from Tallahassee. This is Randall Felt picking it up. Felt gets leveled at the 27-yard line. And let's take a look at the Tar Heels offense after the return of 12 yards. Jason Stanisiak has taken over the quarterbacking job, although we expect to see Mike Thomas this afternoon. Over the 30-yard line, down to the 32. A nice opening play for the Tar Heels. Gain about 7 yards, or 5 yards on the play. Tommy Henry comes up to pick up the tackle. Big and quick on the defensive front. The linebackers headed up by the All-American Marvin Jones, an outstanding group, and what a bunch of hitters, particularly Fowler and Davis, in that Seminole secondary. Second down. About 6. Stanisiak looking. Tried to throw the out pattern, and this about 6 to go on the 32-yard line. 6-0 Florida State. North Carolina with the ball. 2 play fakes. Screen, slow and developing. Stanisiak again throws this one for the sidelines. Intended for Natrone Means. Carl Simpson in hot pursuit. They have run the sequence before. There's a flag down, probably an ineligible receiver downfield. They fake a screen right, then they want to go back left, but actually I think they wanted to go back right to Means again. But you see people like Marvin Jones already over there. There was no place to go.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Penalty decline. Fourth down.
Let's take a look at, excuse me, Steve. Let's take a look at what they wanted to do with Corey Holliday. This is their wide receiver screen, but they were really faking this time. They were trying to get them looking for Holliday and throwing to Means. Mike Thomas, leading punter in the ACC, is in to kick. Boy, they nearly got a foot on him. Back to get it, Corey Sawyer. Sawyer on the sideline. Dodges Thomas and is headed for the end zone. Corey Sawyer. Corey Sawyer returns the offering of Mike Thomas. There was a lot of talk in Tallahassee that with the great punting of Mike Thomas, that he occasionally outkicks his coverage, and they thought that might give Sawyer enough room to do his thing. He got a great block on the corner, albeit a very close to a clip block by Todd Reboll, and that was what enabled him to go the distance. Mowry on once more. Try the point after, missed his first attempt at it. This one is good, and the Seminoles step out in front by 13. Corey Sawyer, 72-yard punt return at the 8:51 mark, puts the Seminoles up 13-0. Let's pause now for a word from your local station. Yeah, Corey Sawyer's 74-yard punt return. It's a great play if you're a Florida State fan. If you're a Carolina fan, right here, Todd Reboll has what could be an illegal block from behind on Mike Morton. One of those things that can go either way, and for Carolina, it went the wrong way. 74 yards later, Mr. Sawyer had himself a score, the 6th longest punt return in Florida State history. And the ACC's #1 punter was answered in kind by the ACC's #1 punt returner. So Florida State getting set to kick away. Dan Mowry. North Carolina getting set to receive.
Tar Heels Marcus Wall. Kick is a short one. Fair catch called for by William Henderson at the 39-yard line, and so North Carolina will get fairly good field position. If there's a silver lining in the dark cloud, it's the fact that the Florida State offense won't be coming back on the field, and that's one thing that North Carolina didn't want all day.
And you can't panic. There is still 8:51 to play here in the first quarter. You hate to spot a team like Florida State a 13-point edge, but you just have to say, hey, our game plan is sound. Let's try and get back into this.
Fulkerson, the fullback for Natron Means. Pitch to Means on the corner. Brooks chases it, holds him up for Tommy Henry, who finishes him off. There's no gain on the play.
People say you cannot run wide against the Florida State defense because of their speed. North Carolina thought the option attack had a chance to do that. But to this point, you can see there was no place for the fullback to go, and so it was the correct read by Jason Stanisiak, but that great team quickness of Florida State makes it tough to turn the corner.
Second down, and actually a loss of a yard there, makes it 11. Stanisiak keeps this time, has the first down and more. Jason Stanisiak into Florida State territory at the 38-yard line. Gain on the play of 25 yards for the sophomore from Park Forest, Illinois.
He knows how to run with the football. He demonstrated that earlier this year against Furman. Great play fake there against Derek Brooks, and then just outran Carl Simpson, the defensive end, to pick up Carolina's first down.
Levon Brown on the side is where Carolina hopes to make some good yardage today. They feel, Darryl Moody, their offensive coordinator, feels they have to. And this is Mike Fulkerson doing just that. And he's moved ahead to the 33-yard line. It'll be a 5. Deep handoff, Natron Means. Again, up the middle, and there's room there. First down, North Carolina. At the Florida State 25, Marvin Jones, Levon Brown in on the tackle for the Seminoles.
Confidence is an amazing thing in sport. I mean, North Carolina struggled on their first offensive series. They give up the punt return for a score, but they get that good run by Jason Stanisiak, and all of a sudden, an offense that couldn't get anything going now has everything going.
First and 10. At the Florida State
keeps that pressure up.
Second down and 7. Marshall, the fullback, with Natron Means behind him at tailback. Stanisiak to throw, wants Holiday. One-on-one with Abraham, incomplete. Stanisiak is yet to complete a pass thus far this afternoon, and that's the first he's thrown in that man's direction.
Corey Holiday running the fade route to fly up the sidelines, but Clifton Abraham, the sophomore out of Dallas, Texas, with good coverage.
Third down and 13-0. We're in Florida State territory at the 23. Stanisiak is changing his call, and I don't think Means picked it up. The hot receiver is Holiday. He gets the pass and gets the touchdown. An incredible catch by Corey Holiday, who turned Clifton Abraham feet around.
Well, the great thing about that fade pattern, only the receiver knows where the football is. And when you've got a game breaker like Corey Holiday, you've got a chance for a big play to happen. His first touchdown catch of the year, but his 27th reception of the season. And Abraham has no idea where the ball is, and Holiday is able to come back for the ball, and with the good size, fends off the efforts of Abraham and scores the touchdown.
Trip Pignetti is getting set to kick the kick, and it is good, and North Carolina is on the board. A 23-yard touchdown pass from Jason Stanisiak to Corey Holiday makes it Florida State 13.
To wear off the bad feeling of those quick 13 points. The fact they go down and score a touchdown, I mean, they feel like now, hey, we're right back in it, but you gotta watch this guy, Mark Vanover.
He can change your disposition in a hurry. If you're a North Carolina fan, he's done it to the last 2 opponents he's faced on kickoff return. Crosland, I'm sure, is painfully aware of that. And will try at every opportunity to kick it inside the McMillan direction, which he has done once again. McMillan returns up the sideline and is driven back at the 27-yard line. Actually, about the 28. And that's going to be the worst field position for Florida State thus far in this first half of play.
Game with the two-back offense. Now it's into the one-back.
Play fake and a good one by Ward. He's alone on the corner, and so is Vanover, but he overthrows it.
Sean Crocker back there wearing a lot of padding on his right hand. He has got a broken finger. Ward had so much time they could run. This shows you how much time he had. They could run a deep out route to Vanover and then up the field. Sean Crocker reached out and grabbed Vanover, slowed him down enough that Tamarek didn't have enough time to catch up to the football.
You saw that heavily bandaged right hand. Second down and 10 for Florida State. Tiger McMillan receivers to the wide side on 3rd and 9. Florida State up by 6. Pass complete to McMillan. In pursuit, that's going to be Mike Morton. The linebacker does a nice job in the open field. And that'll force Florida State's first punt of the day.
Good pressure by Bernardo Harris on Charlie Ward. Forced him to dump the ball off. Watch number 24, left side of your screen. On the bootleg action. See how he flushes Ward out of the pocket, yet still kept him in his vision. And Mike Morton, with a good open field stop, stops McMillan right about the line of scrimmage.
Randall Felton back to catch John Wimberly's punt. There's his average on the season. Carolina gets a pretty good rush. And Wimberly's kick takes a Seminole bounce and rolls out of bounds at the 34-yard line. So Wimberly kicks North Carolina back 35 yards to the 34. There's no return, and the Tar Heels with the ball back with 4:42 left to go here in the first quarter of play, and Jason Stanisic returns to the battle. He had a good series last time out.
He sure did, and we'll have to see if Florida State increases the pressure on Stanisic like Carolina did on Charlie Ward that time. First time they've been able to really put some pressure on the Florida State quarterback, made him throw the ball a little sooner than he wanted to.
First and 10 at the 34-yard line of North Carolina. Felton and Holiday are split wide to the wide side of the field. Stanisic. Pass is complete to Holiday. Flag on the play. Could be a face mask at the 45-yard line.
It's going to be interference, and they'll probably take the penalty because they'll get 5 extra yards or 4 extra yards out of it, depending on where they spot the ball. He makes the catch after about an 11-yard gain. If it's interference, it's a 15-yard walk-off.
Michael Dover, the official. You all right, Jack?
Well, old receivers, we always can spot that interference.
You guys spot interference before it happened.
Oh, that's right. You know, guys within 5 yards of you, it should be interference.
You anticipate interference.
Interference against the defense. Ball we put in play at the spot of the foul.
Remarkable that Holiday makes this catch as Corey Sawyer was coming up over the top of him. You can see Corey letting him go as he went out of the picture like, I didn't get him too soon. Honest, I didn't.
First and 10, North Carolina. They'll get the football at their own 47-yard line. Stanisic on the option. Carries it inside for running room over the 50-yard line down to the 47. Derek Brooks on the tackle for Florida State, but Jack, North Carolina is getting success between the tackles.
Well, when you have a quarterback who runs the option well in terms of his play faking, and both Stanisic and Thomas do that well, and not only to make the play fakes, but to make the correct read. He got a good block from the corner by Greg DeLong, his tight end, and you follow right up behind Sean Hocker, the pulling guard, and get positive yards.
Police got a nice piece of Marvin Jones that time, and here's another inside dive right up straight over the 40-yard line of Florida State. Fulkerson tackled by Brooks, and another first down for the Tar Heels.
You have to keep in mind, and I'm sure Daryl Moody and the offensive coaches, along with Mac Brown, watched the North Carolina State tape in the game between Florida State and North Carolina State, The Wolfpack gained 182 yards on the ground that day. And this is a better running offense. 1st and 10, North Carolina at the Florida State 39. Deep handoff to Means. He's hit by Brooks. After it looked like he opened up a hole down inside, Marvin Jones is there on the tackle as well to the Florida State 36. If Carolina can come back and score on this drive, Steve, maybe the worst thing in hindsight that could have happened to Florida State would have been 2 quick, easy scores and have them feel like, well, this is going to be a blowout. Because if Carolina gets down and takes the lead here, they're going to have all the momentum. 2nd and 7. Malcolm Marshall finds the going tough after a gain of 1. They'll mark him to the 35. A host of people in. He offers Florida State that opportunity. 3rd down and 6. North Carolina trailing 13-7. Swing pass to Means, and he is flattened for a yard loss by Clifton Abraham. Abraham started the play, but it was finished off by several other people, including Todd McIntosh. Abraham, the corner, quickly recognizing the screen, said, I'm going to come up fast and try and disrupt the play. If I don't make the stop, somebody will be there to help me. Jay Boaz is going to come out and kick. A change in punting here for North Carolina. Boaz trying to get this kick inside the 10, and it looks like it's going to be down. No, it wasn't controlled, so it's a touchback. It's a touchback, but North Carolina made a valiant effort on Boaz's kick, but Boaz in for Thomas for that reason, to get it inside the 10. And it almost worked for North Carolina. So Florida State will get it back at the 20, and he gets close to the 1st down. Also helping out on the play, Marcus Jones. As you look at Big Pen, man over, and McCorvey is split wide to the wide side of the field. It is good for a 1st down at the 30-yard line. Charlie Ward gives to Jackson. Jackson has some running room, and likely another 1st down at the 41-yard line. Gain of 11. Big Pen on the tackle. Well, the rumor out of Tallahassee all week were that the Seminoles were going to try and throw the ball deep more frequently. They have not done that except on one occasion so far. Good block by Robbie Baker, the senior center, on Tommy Thigpen. Good play fake as well by Charlie Ward. You can see Thigpen step to his right, and that took him out of the play. 1st and 10. And this is Floyd, the fullback, with more running room into North Carolina territory, brought down at the 45-yard line. This will be a gain of 14 yards, and Rick Steinbacher is in on the tackle. Well, maybe that was part of Bobby Bowden's game plan, to sort of let people think that they were going deep, because Carolina has been playing a soft secondary and linebacking core, worrying about getting beat deep with the speed, and Bobby's got his offense pounding it between the tackles. 1st and 10, the North Carolina 45. Time winding down here in the 1st quarter, and it'll likely run out before we get another play away here at Doak Campbell Stadium. Underway here in the 2nd quarter of play. Florida State, the Sean Jackson run and Corey Sawyer punt return of 74 yards, leading North Carolina 13-7. The Tar Heels scored on a Corey Holiday 23-yard pass from Jason Stanisek. Florida State has the ball. They're 2nd and 6 from the North Carolina 41. Ward back to throw, as it wide open to Lonnie Johnson, who cannot pull it down. There was no one within 10 yards of Lonnie Johnson. They don't throw the ball that frequently to Lonnie Johnson, the junior out of Miami. If Charlie Ward has had a problem this afternoon, Steve, every ball he has thrown has been high. He has yet to complete a pass of any significance on the afternoon going upfield. He's been high with all of them, but Johnson still should have caught that ball. 2 of 6 for 14 yards, and that's the first pass of this drive. Passing offense averages a lot more than they're getting right now. Fumbled snap, and Carolina's got it. North Carolina picks up the turnover, and they get the football in Florida State territory at the 45-yard line. It's going to be Austin Robbins. Watch this. Charlie Ward not ready for the snap out of the shotgun, and it bounced off of Ward right into the hands of Austin. I see him changing the play, snapped his hands, and Robbie Baker thought he was asking for the ball. went right off the chest part of his pads, right to Austin Robbins.
Turnover gives North Carolina the football. Now they mark it back to the 48-yard line of Florida State. Here's Stanisic the throw, and he's going for it all. Brooks, the receiver, intended for, knocked down. Tommy Henry is there with LeVon Brown. First turnover of the football game, and North Carolina blessed with good field position.
Well, I like the play call there by Daryl Moody. You get a big turnover there, go for the jugular, try and go deep on it. Credit Tommy Henry with a good play because Brooks had a step on it.
Second down and 10 at the 48. Stanisic to throw. Wanted to shovel. Nothing was there. Simpson was there for Florida State along with Dan Footman.
I think if you talk to Jason Stanisic, he'd say, I should have thrown the little shuffle pass. I don't know if he thought Nate Trone might have a problem with it, but it would have saved the loss on the play. If Nate Trone drops the ball, it's just an incomplete pass.
The sack forces North Carolina into a 3rd and 16 back at their own 46-yard line. Florida State leading here 13-7. Tar Heels changing up on the line. Stanisic to throw. Flag goes down, and it appears that North Carolina didn't get their play away in time. Play clock may have expired on the Tar Heels, and it'll change this 3rd and 16.
The Rev game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And 21 to go for North Carolina. Headed in reverse since picking off that football.
See, that's where Stanisic would have been better served trying to make the shuffle pass to Means. It probably could not have been intercepted, and an incompletion would have saved you from now a very tough call. Let's see it. State again is rolled up in what looks like a blitz. No, now they're going to drop back into their zone.
The option, the toss, a low one to Nate Trone Means, and he'll have to scrap to pick up yardage to the 41-yard line. Derek Brooks finally flattened him. Corey Sawyer came up to force the play inside as you look at Brooks.
So very obviously, the turnover does not hurt Florida State. The defense turns it up a notch, forces the punt.
Mike Thomas is on to kick it away this time. Sawyer, who has a 74-yard return for a touchdown, is back to get it. Sawyer at the 24. Cuts upfield. He'll get yardage again. And a nice return out to the 37-yard line. Gracie Walker is the man who brings him down. A 34-yard punt and a 12-yard return. And Florida State will get the football back here in the second quarter with 13:02.
It's punting thanks to Corey Sawyer's punt returns. A minus almost 6 yards for Carolina.
1st and 10. Florida State at their own 38. Tiger McMillan and trapping him right there is Greg Black. Got a good tackle on him. Greg Black, the redshirt freshman from Gastonia, North Carolina.
On the sidelines during the timeout, Jimmy Higgins, one of the offensive line coaches for Florida State, talking to Robbie Baker, the guy who snapped the ball too soon on the shotgun, and he was demonstrating to him the lift of the leg is the call for the silent snap, not the clapping of the hands that forced the fumble.
Surprised Charlie Ward above all. McMillan again tries it straight up the middle and gets to the 40. That's a yard and a half of hard-fought real estate, and Rick Steinbacher is there on the tackle.
One of the things we saw in Florida State's game against North Carolina State, Charlie Ward was not having a lot of success throwing the football for much of the first half, but then he hit the long pass to Tamarick Vanover late in the second quarter. That got him going, and then he was outstanding throwing the football. We've got the similar situation unfolding right now.
3rd and 7 for Florida State, leading 13-7. They're at their own 40-yard line. Ward to throw. Screen is set, and it's incomplete. You know, Jack, one of the differences they may face in North Carolina today as opposed to North Carolina State, they probably will face a team that will blitz less. And that might not offer them the opportunities they got against the Wolfpack.
Well, one of the things that Carolina is doing is they've got Ray Jacobs into the ball game, occasionally a linebacker as a defensive lineman to put some pressure on Ward in a normal situation. You can see the frustration on Tiger McMillan's face after the poor pass.
Wimberly, with a 34-yarder last time out, kicks it to Randall Felton. Felton struggling to get to the 30, and he won't make it. And how they say they marked him at the 30-yard line. It's an 8-yard return of Wimberly's 37-yard punt, and North Carolina takes the football back.
It looked for a second like they had the picket fence set up for Felton to come up the sidelines, but Florida State knocked the fence down in a hurry.
Florida State got 2 quick scores, one on a 74-yard punt return, but right now, as we stand in the second quarter, it's Florida State 13-7 at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. Steve Martin along with Jack Corrigan and Mike Hogwood. Tar Heels looking at 1st and 10 from their own 30. Double fake for Stanisic. Blocked by Parsons on the corner, and Stanisic's on his way. Close to a first down, but a flag is thrown back in the vicinity of the block on Marvin Jones. Randall Parsons caught in broad daylight.
Well, Randall, one of those do I or don't I, and boom. Randall said, put the hands up. It's that instinct of players, you know, after they do it, they put their hands up like, maybe if I put my hands up quickly, they'll think I didn't mean it.
Illegal block in the back, above the waist, 10-yard penalty for spot a foul.
That's the new rule change this year. It's no longer all clipping if it's blocked in the back. If it's above the waist, it's a block in the back instead of a clip, and it's at his own 15-yard line. 3 wide receivers short side, and Natrone Means gets the football. Means picks up about 13 yards out to the 28-yard line. Brought down on the play. Looks like it's going to be Clifton Abraham is in there on one of the tackles, and Steve Gilmer coming up from his spot as well.
One of the things that makes the one-back offense the growing trend in football, yes, it enables you to throw the ball, but it can enable you to run the ball that much better because you do spread the defense.
2nd down and 12 after the gain of 13. North Carolina working from a little bit of a hole here. Stanisic changes up. Stanisic looking at Holiday all the way. Incomplete. Brings up 3rd down.
It's ironic we have seen North Carolina try to throw the ball deep more frequently than Florida State thus far. Holiday has had quite a battle already with Clifton Abraham, and for the most part Abraham has won a lot of battles, but Holiday won the one big battle, scoring the touchdown.
From 23 yards out. 3rd down and 11. North Carolina trailing by 6 with the football at their own 28. Natrone Means. Not much running room straight ahead.
Guess who?
Marvin Jones. On the tackle for Florida State.
Marvin Jones been on All-American teams since his freshman year. The only question around here in Tallahassee is not how many All-American teams he's going to be on. It's will he be on a Florida State team in 1993.
But if you're wondering about how many, he has 6 in the preseason. Thomas's kick partially nicked, but takes a very charitable North Carolina bounce down to the Florida State 21-yard line. No return on the kick, and that'll help North Carolina's net punting situation a whole bunch. 47 yards on Thomas's kick, at least 25 of it on the ground.
Well, it's not how it gets there, it's where it gets to. And for Mike Thomas, he'll take an ugly one that rolls without a return for a beauty that gets returned for a touchdown,
which he has seen today. Charlie Ward comes out at quarterback. 13-7 Florida State, 1st and 10 for the Seminoles at their own 21. Jackson turns the corner and then runs into Sean Crocker, Rondell Jones, and a host of others. Crocker made the first delaying stop on Jackson.
I don't know, Steve, if it's because Charlie Ward is struggling a little bit to throw the football right now, if it's an effort on the part of Florida State to
run more successfully out of their two-back set, or if it's the injury to Matt Fryer that has changed a team that ran a lot of one-back offense in their first 5 games. They have been primarily in their two-back set in this first half.
Fryer is the type of receiver who really catches a lot of balls over the middle. That aspect is taken away this afternoon with his absence. Second down. Play action pass. Ward with time. Intercepted by Sean Crocker. Crocker with a heavy bandage and all picks it up, and another Florida State turnover at the Seminole 33-yard line.
Charlie Ward had all kinds of time. He had Shannon Baker deep. He had William Floyd short, and he threw to the middleman, who happened to be Sean Crocker, wearing the wrong colored uniform.
12th interception of the season.
Watch this good play action fake. Charlie Ward with lots of time once he got away from Thigpen, but his throw well short of Shannon Baker.
Jason Stanisiak on first down. Nate Tromine goes ahead to the 32-yard. Florida State 33. Malcolm Marshall in the backfield with Nate Tromine. Stanisiak to throw. Pass incomplete for Bucky Brooks. Clifton Abraham covering. Let's go to the sideline
right now. Do you know who this is? Recognize it? That's Mac Brown as a Florida State Seminole player. He was here for 2 years. His last year didn't win a game. By the way, Mac says he spent more time in the whirlpool than on the field when he was a player here at Florida State.
He used to call the whirlpool the SS Brown. That's what Mac said in a press conference earlier this week. He transferred here from Vanderbilt. Third down, 9 coming up for North Carolina. They trail. Pass intended for Brooks. He almost got it. Abraham covering once again, and it brings up 4th down.
Well, they apparently believe that Clifton Abraham is the cornerback you want to pick on. Good coverage by Abraham, and Brooks almost made a spectacular catch.
Joey Boaz, who is the short distance kicker, is in to boot this one away for North Carolina. He heads for the corner with it. Got it in the end zone. It'll be a touchback. So North Carolina does not take advantage of their second turnover that they've obtained in Florida State territory. It's going to be Florida State getting the ball back at their own 20.
So he's here in Tallahassee.
Played 2 downs against Clemson in the 4th quarter against Wake Forest 2 games ago. In for Charlie Ward, and they go with a reverse to Shannon Baker. Baker headed upfield. First down and more. Steinbacher brings him down at the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 20.
Gotta love the play call of Bobby Bowden and his offensive coordinator, Brad Scott. You've got the new guy in at quarterback. Let's try a little razzle-dazzle with Shannon Baker. Baker with that 4.3 speed dances his way for 20.
Baker out of Lakeland, Florida, moved out of that starting lineup by Tamarick Vanover by and large. Here's the pitch. Sean Jackson gets outside and goes down in the grasp of Mr. Crocker. Now to the sidelines, Mike Hogwood.
Steve, there are more problems at wide receiver for Florida State. Tamarick Vanover sprained his ankle on the last series. He's got his shoe off, and they've got ice on it. They hope he can come back, but right now he's out.
He joins Matt Fryer on the inactive list, at least for the moment. Fryer is out for the day with a separated shoulder.
That's been part of the problem for the Florida State pass offense.
Second down and 6. Cannell throws a dart to Kevin Knox, and Knox has a first down in the grasp of Sean Crocker. Inside North Carolina territory at the 49. And the crowd here at Doak Campbell Stadium starts to applaud. And leading the cheers on the sideline was Charlie Ward.
Kevin Knox comes up a little gimpy, limping on a right leg that's got one of those protective sleeves on his right knee.
There's Ward on the sidelines. First and 10, Florida State of the North Carolina 49. Floyd gets the handoff. Terry Mott gets the first hit. And Steinbacher is there to help clean up. It's a gain on the play of about 2, maybe 3.
It was the closing minutes of the first half that really broke the game open for Florida State at Raleigh a couple of weeks ago in their last big conference test when they scored 2 touchdowns in the closing minutes to take a 3-0 deficit into a 14-3 lead. A touchdown here to increase their advantage to 2 scores again would loom very large.
2nd and 7. Ball at the North Carolina 46. Play fake for Cannell. Looking downfield, has a man open and overthrows Kes McCorvin. Covered by Cliff Baskerville and Rondell Jones.
Well, I don't know what it is about the Florida State quarterbacks this afternoon. They've been throwing everything high. And maybe the thing that wide receivers like the least is a high pass, because your body is totally exposed. You run the risk of extending, and if it's not another guy getting you, it's the ground getting you. That happened to Matt Fryer.
3rd down and 7. Florida State up 13-7, hoping to keep this drive alive. It started at their own 20. Cannell, man open, and that is Vanover, who's back into the game. Vanover bound to the 25 to 26-yard line. Gain on the play of 20.
Carolina chose to get into a basic set, drop into deep zone coverage, and Vanover made a good move on Sean Crocker and then turned a curl route inside and picked up the 1st down yardage and more.
So Danny Cannell connects on the longest pass play of the day for the Florida State Seminoles, and they have the football in the North Carolina 26. And a timeout has been called, and it's been charged, I believe, to North Carolina, and we'll see.
Well, again, Carolina did not have enough guys on the field. They only had 10 men on the field. Bernardo Hartland.
Mother Nature has a habit of doing that. 1st and 10, Florida State. They're at the North Carolina 26-yard line. Florida State has 2 timeouts left. North Carolina has 1. Deep handoff, Sean Jackson, not much there. Mike Morton wraps him up, and a host of others come in to help. Morton, who is a sophomore from Kannapolis, North Carolina, playing behind Rick Steinbacher.
Carolina blitz this time, and the draw play right into the blitz. You see Mike Morton right there for it, and sometimes, Sean Jackson, the best thing to do is go down, because staying up like that, you're an inviting target.
He did go down 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Brings up 2nd and 14. North Carolina switching on the snap. Cannell with time and a receiver open. Vanover at the 20-yard line. Gain on the play of 10. They'll be short 4 of the 1st down. Baskerville on the tackle.
The thing that makes Tamarick Vanover so impressive as a true freshman, the high school All-American at Leon High School right here in Tallahassee, is the discipline he has. He runs good routes. Not only is he fast, but he has good recognition of the secondary's coverage and runs the proper routes, the routes he should run.
As a running back in high school, gained 1,300 yards with a separated shoulder. 3rd down. Pass for Floyd is incomplete. And Florida State will be into a field goal situation here of about 37 yards. Rondell Jones covering William Floyd out of the backfield as Dan Mowry comes onto the football field to tack on a score here for the Seminoles.
It's about the same distance as the ill-fated try of a week ago, a little farther out, but this time from the right hash mark.
Out of the hold of Danny Cannell. Mowry, you saw, came into this game at 8 and 14. His longest kick, 42. This is 37. It is long enough, and it is good. Florida State gets a score out of the drive that started at their own 20-yard line with a change in venue at quarterback. Florida State 16, North Carolina 7. Back to Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. Steve Martin along with Jack Corrigan and Mike Hogwood. Florida State up 16-7 on Dan Mowry's 37-yard field goal, his 9th of the season at the 4:15 mark here in the 2nd quarter. Caps a drive that started at the Florida State 20-yard line and featured the passing of Danny Cannell.
Danny Cannell coming up with 37 yards passing on that drive, and might have had more. He threw a good ball to William Floyd on 3rd down. Florida State misses the versatility that they enjoyed at fullback for so many years with Edgar Bennett.
Randall Felton back to get Maury's kick this time out. At the 8. This is going to be Randy Jordan. Jordan breaks outside and has a nice return to the North Carolina 46-yard line. Corey Sawyer has to drive him out. It's a 34-yard return for Randy Jordan.
Well, it was a knuckleball kick that got down to Jordan in a hurry, and that really disrupted the kick coverage of Florida State. It has been an inconsistent day, to say the least, for Dan Mowry. Good job by Jordan to handle the bouncing kick, and with his quickness, he was able to get to the outside and put the Tar Heels in good field position.
Jason Stanisiak first and 10 at his own 46. Mike Fulkerson gets up inside and into Florida State territory at the 49-yard line, bringing him down. Ken Alexander also had help inside from number 91, DeAndre Clark.
Carolina trying to get back to their success on 1st down, ran the quick hitter up the middle with fullback. What they want to be in the 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5 situation. Their chances are much better of keeping the drive going.
In mind, North Carolina has only one timeout to play with here. First half winds down. Here's Stanisiak. Stanisiak is close to the 1st down. They're going to mark him down short. At the Florida State 43-yard line, it'll be a gain of 6. And again, DeAndre Clark is the man on the tackle.
You admire the patience of Jason Stanisiak as a runner with football. You don't normally see it. Now, this is the
half the distance to the goal. Still 1st down.
So it's 1st and goal. And it's going to be inside the 2 at the 1-yard line. Danny Cannell coming in relief from Charlie Ward, and he's moved the team to a field goal and has a chance to move them in for 6. Florida State with 2 timeouts.
Don't you like the play call after stopping them on 4th down to run the razzle-dazzle and now have a chance to break this game open?
Floyd into the end zone for a touchdown. William Floyd's 3rd touchdown of the year. Cats a march in 2 plays from midfield after North Carolina gave up on downs. And the Seminoles move out on top 22-7. Dan Mowry into kick. He is 1 for 2 on point after so far in this ball game. Cannell to hold. The kick is up. No good. And for the 2nd time this afternoon, Dan Mowry has missed a point after. Starts to hear some of the displeasure of the Florida State fans after that score, but the Tar Heels fall deeper behind as Bobby Bowden's crew tacks a score on here just before halftime. The big play, Danny Cannell, the handoff to Sean Jackson, and his pass in turn to Tamarick Vanover.
Well, we saw North Carolina try to take advantage of a turnover by throwing a deep ball in the 1st half, and Florida State had good coverage. Florida State turns it around and makes it look like the toss sweep to Sean Jackson, and by the time the Tar Heel defense realized they were going deep to Vanover, he was behind the secondary, and that freshman showed you why he may be an All-American as a true freshman with the way he's going.
Concentration on that play was remarkable. Concentration has got to be a key aspect for that young man who faced the prospects of 3 missed kicks in 2 weeks' time. 2 of the point afters. And 1, of course, the field. And Jordan returns it back to the 18-yard line. Derek Brooks in on the tackle. As Mowry heads off the field, there's Jordan. After a bit of anxiety on Curtis Johnson's attempt to field the kick.
Speaking of anxiety, you know they are thinking about it on that Carolina sideline. 2 cracks at a 1st down from
inches away and not able to pick it up, and then Florida State in 3 plays turns it into a score.
Well, 3 times North Carolina has ventured into Florida State territory. Once as deep as the 33, and they've come up empty. Natron Means up over the 20 to the 21-yard line. Gain of 2 on the play.
Carolina would love to put points on the board before the end of the half, but they also know they are going to get the football to start the second half, and because of the 2 missed extra points by Dan Mowry, they are 2 touchdowns away if they were to go for a 2-point conversion on one of them from being back into a tie, or 2 2-point conversions and take the lead.
Staying on the ground is Natron Means, dances away from some would-be tacklers to the 28. A gain of 7 on the play, gives him 39 yards on the afternoon unofficially, and leaves him still about a yard shy of a first down. Leon Fowler has been kind of quiet today with the tackle.
Carolina with just the 1 timeout left, so they are not really in that much of a hurry as the clock ticks under 50 seconds to play here in the first half. They don't want to give Florida State another opportunity if they don't get a first down.
3rd and less than a yard. They trail 22-7. Handoff goes straight ahead to Fulkerson, and he does not make it. So any thought North Carolina could keep Florida State away from the football is dashed on that 1-yard loss. And Florida State wisely takes a timeout.
Their second timeout of the first half. And boy, you have to credit McIntosh and Derek Alexander, Dan Footman, those people, the down 3 of that defensive front of Florida State, on now 3 straight short yardage situations up the middle have denied North Carolina first down.
And Mr. Floyd, William Floyd, with the touchdown just moments ago. 32 seconds left to go. The first half of play. It's 4th down and about a yard for Mike Thomas, who will punt it away. Corey Sawyer waiting back to get it. Kick sails to Sawyer at the 27. Sawyer cutting upfield, and he is snowed under at the 32-yard line. In on the stop for North Carolina, Eddie Mason helped out. It's a 45-yard kick for Mike Thomas and a 6-yard return from Corey Sawyer, and that sets Florida State up with just 19 seconds left in the first half at their own 32.
Danny Cannell, will he just hand the ball off, or will Florida State fire up the home run ball, figuring it's a can't-lose situation?
They've got the weapons, Jack. It won't take them long to score if they put them all to use.
Vanover to Cannell's left, and Knox and McCorvey to his right.
Cannell, play action. Fakes to Floyd and gets decked and loses the football. Ray Jacobs and Jonathan Perry met with 11 seconds left. And North Carolina is going to come up with a football.
It's J.R. Bolden who came away with the football, and with 11 seconds to play, they can run a play and then still try and kick a field goal. It was the pump and go, and bomb! Jonathan Perry with the pop on Danny Cannell. I mean, that is a ferocious hit.
Perry has been bothered with injuries thus far this season, but it didn't look to hamper him there. North Carolina has the football back, and Florida State calls yet another timeout, their final. A motion to Florida State, waiting to... That actually saves Carolina an opportunity here. They still have 1 timeout remaining. Florida State has exhausted their supply.
Well, the clock would not have started on the change of possession until the snap of the football, so Carolina had an opportunity, and I'm sure what Mac Brown is telling Jason Stanisiak right here is, yeah, try and get the ball downfield, but don't take the sack. Don't take us out of field goal range where we have a chance to come away with some points here. So be smart, keep an eye on the clock, keep an eye on the pressure, and if you don't feel like it's there, throw it into the nickel seats.
Bobby Bowden down along the Florida State sidelines, writing down some notes. And I'm sure he wants to impress upon his team as they head to the locker room, which they'll be doing in about 11 seconds here.
third turnover of the ball game by Florida State. And you know, sometimes when you're the riverboat gambler, the reputation that Bobby Bowden has had, it rises up and gets you. I mean, I thought it was still a good idea to try and throw the home run ball. At worst, it gets to be an interception. I don't think any of them anticipated that Danny Cannell would get hit and fumble the ball and give Carolina a chance.
Fourth time for the Tar Heels in Florida State territory. 11 seconds left. Stanisic to throw. Launch Stephen Jerry. There's some pushing going on between he and Clifton Abraham, but it's incomplete, and that stops the clock with 6 seconds to go. This brings the field goal unit in. Mac Brown wanting to get something on the scoreboard as a result of this turnover.
Well, a year ago, that would have been a no-doubter with the great field goal kicker Clint Waltney. It has been somewhat intermittent in terms of the place kicking. Trip Pignetti, you see he has had some success, but not of great length.
35 the longest. 6 out of 8 you saw there. He's a walk-on, or was a walk-on from Charlotte, North Carolina. This one is from 45 yards out. Kick is up, and it is good. So North Carolina takes advantage of the turnover after a great defensive play by Jonathan Perry and the recovery by the Tar Heels. Trip Pignetti from 45 yards out nails it as time expires here in the first half. And Florida State has a 22-10 lead after a curious first half of action here in Tallahassee. Down on the sidelines, Mike Hogwood standing by with Florida State coach Bobby Bowden.
Coach Bowden, I guess a pretty up and down first half for your team. Some turnovers, but then you did some good things.
Well, we've done some good things, and so have they. We've had 2 people wide open and dropped them and can't catch a darn ball. You know, Mike could have got this game broke open, but it's a good ball game. North Carolina's playing well, and we're playing well.
You changed quarterbacks there. Any idea now what you'll do?
I don't know. Charlie just couldn't execute. So we put the other young man in, and he led us to a touchdown. So that was very encouraging. We'll probably put Charlie back in, see if he'll settle down a little bit.
All right. That's Bobby Bowden, head coach of the Florida State Seminoles. His team is up. We're at halftime by Corey Sawyer. We're going to take a look at it. Jack Corrigan told you about the fact that sometimes Mike Thomas outkicks that coverage. But look at this great speed and great moves to get by the punter, Thomas. And nobody was able to catch him. Corey Sawyer, one of the real big plays of this game, the sophomore from Key West, Florida. And it's 22-10. Well, you know, Corey Sawyer may be in the running for one of our players of the week. Next week, his Seminoles are on top right now.
We love to fly, and it shows.
Remembering one of the great offensive linemen in North Carolina history, George Barkley. 22-10 is our score at halftime. Today, you're getting a look at the ACC's total offense leader, Charlie Ward, but he struggled in the first half and was replaced by Danny Cannell. We might have a change in that statistical category next week. Right now, let's look at our stats leaders in the ACC. It's time now for the Diet Pepsi Best of the ACC. The league's leading rusher is Terry Kirby of the Virginia Cavaliers. He's moved into Heisman Trophy. Marcus Badgett of Maryland set a school record a week ago. He's the league's leading receiver. And Scott Berdan of Duke is the league's leading tackler. And that's the Diet Pepsi Best of the ACC.
At that point, the Seminoles would wait until 4:15 left in the second quarter before they would score again. A 37-yard field goal by Dan Mowry, and Danny Cannell came into the ballgame at that point and picked up 37 yards passing in that drive. And then the Seminoles would score again with 1:54 left in the first half. William Floyd.
This came very quickly after they had stopped North Carolina on 3rd down and 4th down and inches. They ran a halfback option pass, and then Floyd banged it in from close to make it 22-7, but Mowry missed his second extra point.
And Trip Pignetti, after a Florida State turnover, their 3rd of the half, kicks with 6 seconds remaining in the second quarter. A 44-yarder, his longest ever, and that brings us where we are right now. 22-10, Florida State leading the North Carolina Tar Heels. Coming back, second half.